One left behind is more than a standard we all live up to. It is a way of life. It is part of our mission. If you or someone you know finds themselves struggling with their mental health, please contact the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by dialing 988 on your mobile phone or text 838 255 to speak or chat with a qualified counselor. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Run for the Wall podcast. I'm Hitch, and as always, I'm joined with co-host extraordinaire Boots. Hey, Boots, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Is it May yet?
Oh, we are getting so close. We're getting so close. And then today we have special guest Boyce Brushstroke McKinney. Hey, how are you doing today?
Hello, great.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. I'm really excited to hear what you have to share with us.
Sure.
All right. So Boots, I know you mentioned, is it May yet? It's almost that time, but for people who have no idea the significance of that to us, we just want you all to know, like, hey, if this is your F&G year, or if you just happen upon this podcast, or if someone you know has been doing the run and you decided to tune into an episode and you're like, let me see what it is that they're up to and what this Run for the Wall thing is all about. Well, we are the largest, oldest, and longest cross-country motorcycle run in the United States. And we do this in support of military, veterans, POWs, KIAs, and like we're just here to continue doing our part. So that's who we are. Did you want to add something to that?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And just to, for first timers or people who are tuning in, Run for the Wall happens every May. It's a once a year event. And we have 4 routes, 1 mission. So there are 3 coast to coast routes that all start in Ontario, California, and then conclude at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C. And then those are 10-day routes, all 3 of them. And then we have a 4th route called the Sandbox route. That's only a 3-day run. And that goes from the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C. to the Middle East Conflicts Memorial Wall in Marseilles, Illinois. We call that wall to wall. So we got 3 coast to coast and 1 wall to wall, 4 routes, 1 mission.
That's right. And so that's why we say, is it May yet? Because that is when we go kick stands up. But
yeah,
in order to make this happen, we do have a lot of people who support and sponsor us along all 4 of our routes. And without you all, like, we absolutely could not do this. And that comes in the form of just that motivational support of people showing up on those overpasses and side of the road, people stopping at some of our memorials, our lunch stops, breakfast stops, dinner stops. Like they come out
it's
everywhere.
Quite a sight.
The schools, they come out everywhere, but they also provide donations, and we do have some sponsors. So Boots, would you like to share like who some of our sponsors are and what it is they do for us?
For sure. And just to bring a little bit of scale to this, in general, over the across all 4 routes, we've got 1,600 riders. It's been close to 2,000 in the past, but generally it's around 1,600 riders. Consider all those bikes going all the way across the country, going coast to coast, wall to wall. We do collectively more than 1 million miles a year. That's a lot of motorcycle riding. And in order to get this thing rolling and moving across the country, we rely on a lot of sponsors. And the first one on our list is Fuller Law. Chad Fuller donates a heck of a lot of time to Run for the Wall. He also provides legal assistance for motorcyclists and others. So if you or someone you know finds himself in need of legal representation, contact Fuller Law for Riders at fullerlawforriders.com or 1-855-FULLER-LAW, FULLERLAW. Also, the big send-off happens in Ontario every May, and we rely on a lot of community support, and we get that from the Greater Ontario Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Listen, that's Ontario, California.
That is
people.
right.
Ontario, California.
The Inland Empire. Yeah. So, and it's just east of Los Angeles by about 50 miles or so, out there in the Inland Empire, real close to Riverside. And we got support from so many people. Also, so everybody who's been on Run for the Wall knows that we have hydration trailers that go along the routes with all four of them that are stocked with water and electrolytes and snacks. And a lot of those come from Pepsi. And we also get some from Coca-Cola. So we're grateful to have these sponsors who are providing all of this product for the riders and supporters. So thank you to Pepsi and Coca-Cola. We really appreciate what you do for Run for the Wall. We also have some industry sponsors that give product to Run for the Wall, and also really great sponsorship and discounts. AMSOIL, if you go to the Run for the Wall website, you can click on that AMSOIL banner and buy the best motor oil for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat. I run it in my generator. It's great stuff. Also, Climb riding gear. One of the best manufacturers of safety gear. They have helmets, they have jackets, they have pants, they have all kinds of stuff. Excellent gloves for warm weather, cool weather, in between. But Climb offers a sponsorship. It's not a discount. It's a sponsorship for Run for the Wall riders. You have to click on that banner on the website to get information on that and find out how you can take advantage of that sponsorship. And Nelson Rig, also a great supplier of motorcycle-related products, rain gear, apparels, tank bags, tail bags, all kinds of great stuff. And they are offering a 25% discount to Run for the Wall riders. And that discount code is also on our website at rftw.us.
Awesome. Thank you, Boots. All right. So for news and events, countdown to the run, we are 74 days
74.
to Kickstands Up. That is as of today, as we're recording this podcast, which is Friday, the 27th. I should have verified. I'm pretty sure today is Friday, the 27th.
It is.
I'm like, this is just talking. Verify the date.
And 74 days from now, it will be Wednesday, May 13th. And that is when we go KSU. That's a TLG for Kickstands Up. And TLG is a 3-letter acronym. Sorry. KSU, it's we say that all the time, but we are going Kickstands Up on Wednesday, May 13th.
That's right. And that is for all of our coast-to-coast routes. So all 3 routes will be departing on the 13th, Wednesday, the 13th of May, from Ontario, California. And then our wall-to-wall route, which we talked about before, that's the Sandbox route, will be departing from DC on Sunday, May 24th. Now, earlier, Boots talked about how many people typically join us on the run, upwards of, you said like 15-ish hundred to in the past, like 2,000 people. Well, right now, it's still February, and we already have 830 people registered. Registration is open. If you're thinking about doing one leg, one day, all the way, go ahead, jump on the site and get registered, because these numbers matter a lot to us when it comes to our sponsors, and the people who make donations and support us along our route across country, because we provide those numbers to people and then they know how many bikers to prepare for. You don't want to show up for a steak lunch and then there are not enough steaks, right?
That's right. And remember, Run for the Wall, it isn't just like a regular motorcycle run. This is really a mission, and it's not a party. But it's a mission of honor. It's like a rolling parade across the entire United States to honor our veterans, our military, active duty, first responders, and of course, those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. It's a way of showing that we care and that we remember and that nobody's name will be forgotten.
Absolutely. All right. So next, if you are already registered or if you're just curious about like, okay, you talk about this 10 days cross country and then wall to wall, but where do you all stay? Like, do you just pack a sleeping bag? Well, some people, yes. We have our camping list that's posted and you can see where our campers stay. Sometimes we have churches and other organizations donate a place for our people to stay. And sometimes that can be a campsite, again, a church, things of that nature. But our hotel list, that is also already up and on the site and has been since last month. I want to say like,
Yep.
Why am I acting like I don't know? I stalked it until it dropped the first, January 1st, because that's when I booked my hotels.
Yeah, there's plenty of rooms left. So, but some of those room blocks will go away in April. So it's all, March is on Sunday. So march on over to your computer and make your hotel reservations. Sorry.
Dad joke.
Sorry.
It was right there for
terrible.
you. No judgment.
It's awful. Somebody help me.
Goodness.
Okay, so we got a couple more news and events announcements moving right along. We still have some volunteer positions available for the various routes, so check that out on the website, sign up to volunteer. We'd love to have you join us. We got some great merchandise on the merchandise store. And remember, that's one of the ways we fund Run for the Wall. That merchandise is very, very important. And now we have brand new, just released shirts for each of the 4 routes. So you could buy a Midway route t-shirt or a Southern route or Sandbox or, of course, the Central route. And a portion of the sale, the proceeds from that sale, goes directly to fund that route. And that would be like fuel stops, subsidizing fuel stops, et cetera, et cetera. So, buy a few t-shirts, buy one for everyone in your family. I did. But anyways, they're great looking shirts. Check them out. If you're on the Central, you could buy a Midway shirt. There's no problem. If you're on Midway, you could buy a Southern, whatever. Just support the run and have fun while you're doing it. We also have local meetups. So if you want to gather with some of your Run for the Wall family, if you're brand new to the Run for the Wall, we call you an FNG, fun new guy or gal, or what do you call it, Hitch? Fun new generation. Yeah, that's it. But hey, let's say you signed up to do Run for the Wall this year and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Check out some of our local meetups. If you're in Colorado, they meet for breakfast, I think weekly. We've got one here in Arizona. I know there's Mississippi, Northern California, Washington, D.C. We have the forum where you can find out information and also the event calendar on the website. So come on over. You'll be welcome. And you can learn about how to pack, how to prepare, how to put new tires on your bike. Well, they're not going to teach you how to do that, but we'll tell you to start the run with a set of freshies because, well, it's just a good thing to do when you're going a long distance. But anyways, check out the local meetups and have fun with that. Now what? Where are we? I've been talking a lot.
That brings us to our Why We Ride.
Right. Okay.
The reason we're here.
The reason we're here is to honor our veterans and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. And today, we've got a true American hero. I'm going to share my screen for those who are watching us on YouTube. I always put up a little bit about the man or woman who that we're honoring on Why We Ride today. And today we are remembering William Edward Adams. He was a major in the U.S. Army. He was born on June 16th, 1939, and he lived in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Wow.
The date of his casualty was May 25th, 1971, just shy of his 32nd birthday. What I'm going to read here was his Medal of Honor Award script. The President of the United States of America, in the name of Congress, takes pride in presenting the Medal of Honor posthumously to Major William Edward Adams, United States Army, for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty while serving with A-227 Assault Helicopter Company, 52D Aviation Battalion, 17th Aviation Group, 1st Aviation Brigade in action against enemy aggressor forces at Kon Tum Province, Republic of Vietnam, on the 25th of May, 1971. On that day, Major Adams volunteered to fly a lightly armed helicopter in an attempt to evacuate 3 seriously wounded soldiers from a small firebase which was under attack by a large enemy force. He made the decision with full knowledge that numerous anti-aircraft weapons were positioned around the base and that the clear weather would afford the enemy gunners unobstructed view of all routes into the base. As he approached the base, the enemy gunners opened fire with heavy machine guns, rocket-propelled grenades, and small arms. Undaunted by the fusillade, he continued his approach, determined to accomplish the mission. Displaying tremendous courage under fire, he calmly directed the attacks of supporting gunships while maintaining absolute control of the helicopter he was flying. He landed the aircraft at the firebase, despite the ever-increasing enemy fire, and calmly waited until the wounded soldiers were placed on board. As his aircraft departed from the firebase, it was struck and seriously damaged by enemy anti-aircraft fire and began descending. Flying with exceptional skill, he immediately regained control of the crippled aircraft and attempted a controlled landing. Despite his valiant efforts, the helicopter exploded, overturned, and plummeted to earth amid a hail of enemy fire. Major Adams' conspicuous gallantry, intrepidity, and humanitarian regard for his fellow man were in keeping with the most cherished traditions of the military service and reflected utmost credit on him and the United States Army. His name is inscribed on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall, Panel 3 West, Row 54. It is not the worst thing to die in war. It is not the worst thing to be missing in war. The worst thing is to be forgotten in war. Say their names, tell their stories, never forget. Major William Edward Adams, you are not forgotten. Your memory and sacrifice on behalf of our beloved country lives on in our thoughts and in our hearts. You will always be remembered whenever we stand and sing the words, land of the free and home of the brave.
Thank you so much, Boots, for sharing that one with us.
Yeah, it's a tough one, but
was that one
he's a
that
true
was
American
sent to
hero.
Us? Was that one that was sent to us? Was that one that Angie
No,
had,
that was one I picked. I have a whole, I've created a whole index and catalog of war heroes who have made the ultimate sacrifice from Vietnam, World War I, Korea, World War II, GWAT. And I just kind of go through them. Sometimes I try to pick someone who actually, the date of casualty is the day that we're recording, which is one of the traditions on Run for the Wall. Do that a lot. But sometimes I just read through these, and I see someone who just strikes me as just amazing. Amazing courage that Bill showed. That I read a lot about him. I read up on these people, and I feel like I get to know him a little bit. But the courage that he showed is amazing. And then there's a website called the Wall of Faces, and it shows all of the men and women who are memorialized on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall. And you can leave a note there. So I read, there are 7 pages of notes that were left for Bill Adams, and people who served with him, people who knew him, his son, and just thanking him for his service and giving a little bit more insight into who he was as a man and how he lived his life. And it's a true inspiration. And that is exactly why we ride, so that people like Bill Adams are not forgotten, that his memory carries on. And every time we saddle up and throw a leg over our bike and we roll out in formation on Run for the Wall, we got the flags flying. We're in parade formation. Everyone from the front of the pack to the back of the pack, the road guards, the chaplains, the FNGs, the ambassadors, the outreach, everyone, we're all there for one mission and one purpose, and that's to bring honor to these courageous American heroes.
Absolutely. And with that being said, you mentioned you read through these and it feels like you're getting to know the person. And there have been several times on the podcast where we have had bios. I shared one of someone I served with, and our guests have shared bios of their family members or people that they've known. So if you're listening to this podcast and there's a bio that you would like for us to share, absolutely. I know we always say send your experiences, questions, and all that to us, but you can also share a bio that you would want us to read about one of your loved ones.
Or someone you served with. I read a bio and I had forgotten who sent it to me, but I read it, and then the person who sent it contacted me and said, yeah, he served with me. He was one of my guys. So that just kind of hit me.
Right. All right. So that brings us to customs and traditions. And this year, you wanted to talk about one of the recent things that we started doing, and that's prepaid fuel.
Yeah. So, this was almost a listener question, because it wasn't actually a listener, but somebody asked a question on the website, because you can ask questions, and I get all those questions. But how does prepaid fuel work? So I thought, this is a great opportunity to talk about it on the podcast. So each of the 4 routes handles prepaid fuel slightly differently. All 4 routes do it, but for specific information like the cost and everything, keep watching your route coordinator newsletter and they'll talk about it. But in general, if you want to fuel with the pack, because we ride together as a pack and we have scheduled fuel stops, but if you want to fuel with the pack, you must purchase a prepaid fuel sticker. It's, and each route has a different cost. It could be as low as $75. It could be $150, whatever it is. You get a sticker that goes on the front of your bike. That allows you into that fuel station to fuel up on Run for the Wall. Okay. And a lot of these fuel stops, some are donated, but it's subsidized through the donations that we receive throughout the year. Okay. And each route does their own fundraising. That's why I say buy shirts, because the money that comes from the route shirts on the merchandise store goes to subsidize things like the fuel cost. Anyways, the point here is that the fuel sticker, the money you pay, will cover all of your daily fuel stops for the whole way across the United States. What it will not cover is fueling up on your own at the end of the day. I'm not sure how all the routes handle it, but usually what happens at the end of the day, we pull in and we don't fuel after that last leg as a group. You stop at the stop and you have dinner, right? And then what you need to do is fuel up that night before you go to your hotel so that you start the morning on a full tank. But that's not covered. That's on you. But when we pull out of Ontario and that first fuel stop, that'll be covered. So you don't have to fumble pulling out money. You just pull in, the fuel team sees your sticker, you grab the pump, fill your bike, and go into the staging area. I also wanted to mention that the prepaid fuel is only available to 2-wheeled motorcycles and 3-wheeled trikes or Can-Am Spyders, okay? It's not available to 4-wheeled automobiles and trucks, because we do have a few who want to participate in Run for the Wall but can't for whatever reason. Like Hitch, you're going in a car, right? So we do have a few automobiles and trucks. Prepaid fuel doesn't apply to you. You're going to have to fuel on your own.
What? You mean to tell me I can't just pay $75
Nope.
for the extra large
For your
SUV
giant
that I'm
gas
renting
guzzling. Yeah, no.
and survive across
You're on your
country?
own. But I want to mention, if you choose not to purchase a prepaid fuel sticker, and I can't imagine why you wouldn't, but there are those out there. I do want to mention what the procedure is if you don't. If you don't, then you won't be permitted to fuel with a pack. And you'll have to go fuel on your own at a gas station of your choice on your dime in the proximity of where the pack fuels. And then you'll have to proceed to stage with the pack or catch up with the pack later. Okay. But the prepaid fuel option is a tremendous value. And again, it's subsidized through donations from individuals and organizations. When do you buy prepaid fuel? Not right now. Actually, I think some of the routes might be selling them in advance. But again, I know for Central, because that's the route that I'm on, you buy them in Ontario or wherever you join, and it will be prorated if you're joining halfway across the country. And you'll have to check details on that because I don't have all those rates. And also, I'm not sure how much each of the fuel stickers costs, but I know that it's going to be coming out fairly soon. And you just follow the instructions on the various route coordinator newsletters for price and how to purchase. But I know you can buy them in Ontario. So there you go. That's prepaid fuel. It's a great value. I hope you all take advantage of it. Makes things easy.
It does.
We
I
used to
can't
have to pull out
imagine.
cash, and that was a pain.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So now that you all have a better understanding of how prepaid fuel works, we are going to jump into learning more about Brushstroke and what it is that he does on the run. And I want to say you're our first chaplain that we've had.
That's right.
And so I'm really
Thank you.
excited to have you. But again, I just want to welcome you to the podcast. And are you ready for us to jump into like asking you all the questions?
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. Well, hey, how'd they get there? How were you introduced to Run for the Wall?
I was actually working at a church in Goldsboro, North Carolina, and this church has a very strong missions base. And there were probably 5 or 6 riders for Run for the Wall that attend this church.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew that I rode a motorcycle, so they started talking to me. And this was like in March of 2015. And so I go home and I start pull up the website and start looking at it, and went ahead and registered and got set up. So 2015 was my first year.
Oh wow! So you jumped on it the same year that you heard about it. Now, where are you from? Where do you live?
I was just going to ask that. We skipped over that.
Well, I live in Stanley, North Carolina, which is up kind of in between Gastonia and Charlotte.
Okay.
That's home for me.
Okay. So we're not too far from one another.
No, and this place that I'm down here now working on a project for this church, but it's about 4 hours away, and they are real big supporters of M25, which is the chaplain organization that I'm with. And, so they support Run for the Wall. They support Mission M25. And so this is kind of like my home away from home.
Love it.
Is that where you are today in North Carolina?
Yes, down in Goldsboro.
Got it. Great.
All right. So why do you ride, or who do you ride for?
Well, I've always had my heart's always been in with the military. I love the military. I missed Vietnam by just a few months. I graduated high school in June of '73, and
Gotcha.
So we were looking at Vietnam really, really heavy at that point in time, and so I took off to thought I was going to be going to college, but didn't make it to college. But a lot of my friends did go to Vietnam, And my dad was he served in World War II.
Okay.
He was in actually he was in Europe when World War II ended. He was over there for 39 months, and he was a medic. So he saw a lot of action there. He was on the front lines there. And then when he made it home, he came home, and then of course he was also with the Army in Fort Bragg for the Korean conflict. He didn't have to go. So the military was always in our background. Always loved it, and I always tell people, if I had it to do over again, the day that I graduated high school, I'd probably sign up for the United States Air Force. I love to fly anything, anywhere, anytime. So,
Awesome.
but a little bit aged out on that situation, but yeah, I just
Who's to say? No.
I just that first year on Run for the Wall, I probably cried more that 2 weeks than I had in months.
Wow.
There was just something about going under an underpass, and there'll be 100 people on that road with flags and everything. I mean, your little common boys out of Gaston County, North Carolina, we'd never seen things like that.
Right.
So it opened up a whole new thing for us, or for me especially. So that's where it started for me, and I've been involved with it ever since.
So
and,
you haven't missed a year since 2015.
Only the COVID years.
I mean,
That's the only years
right.
I've missed.
No.
So
Wow.
what routes have you done? Have you always
Just
been on Midway? Great.
I do the Midway.
Right.
The M25 organization, I don't know if you guys know about it or not, but it's
Not much.
Gary
Tell us. Yeah.
Well, M25 is an organization that was birthed in the Pentecostal Holiness Church. And Gary Bird did Run for the Wall. He did the Southern route years and years ago. I think he's probably 19 years ago. And, he saw the need for hydration. He saw the need for chase vehicles and things like that. So every year since then, M25, especially for Southern route and Midway route, we provide the chase vehicles, the trucks and the trailers for those two routes. So when we get to California, we are busy for the first 3 days before the ride, packing trailers, the hydration trailer, with the water, the Gatorade, snacks, and all that. So that's our primary focus. And then, of course, we're also there just to provide spiritual help if someone needs it. We're not there to hit people over the head with the Bible or anything like that. If we're there just to support the people on the ride, and we love doing it. It's an honor to do it, and we look forward to it every year. And our days begin probably early September. We go ahead and start our meetings, and you're finding out who's going to be able to go, who's not going, who's driving the trucks, who's doing this, who's doing that. So and by this time every year, we've got texting and Zoom calls going on, weekly, as to, and things change daily. You'll find somebody and they'll call and say, "Oh, I can't do it this year." And then we're going, "Oh no." So anyway,
it happens.
That's
And
amazing.
it just goes to show, like we were saying early on, about what all it takes to make Run for the Wall happen. And you all have an organization actually coming together and planning and working to make it happen alongside us for 2 of the routes. So that is phenomenal.
Well, actually, we're also the chaplain corps and the hydration team for Sandbox as well.
Okay.
Wow. So 3 routes.
Right. Boots, I think you guys use an organization called Honor Bound or
Right.
Honor Guard for your chaplain.
Honor Bound.
Honor Bound.
Honor Bound. Yeah.
Those guys are great. That's a great bunch of guys.
But it's amazing to hear like that you guys are doing these planning meetings and Zoom meetings and text, because that's what we're doing right now. We just like last weekend, we met all day Saturday, well, from 7 a.m. to about 3:30 my time, and then Sunday from 7 to about 1 o'clock my time. But it's it was like a whole weekend of nothing but Run for the Wall, sitting in front of the Zoom and talking through everything.
Yeah. And last year we did it on
all
your
the
birthday.
routes. I know, that's right. Yeah. The February meeting always happens around my birthday. But anyways, it's not just the Run for the Wall, the route coordinators and the board of directors. It's organizations like M25 who are doing the same thing, making sure that they're doing their part. And I mean, we can't thank you enough for what you do for Run for the Wall.
Well, we have a lot of times we will have like Gary Bird Shepherd, who is like I said, the leader of M25, and he's in North Carolina quite a bit. I think he calls North Carolina his second home. He's actually from Oklahoma, and he'll be in for he may be doing a revival here on town, in North Carolina or whatever. And we have a lot of our members are from the Carolinas and Florida. And we will have 1 or 2 meetings a year in this area and have our planning sessions in person. And then if somebody can't make it, we'll do a Zoom call while we're there. But a lot of the planning strategies are done in those meetings, and a lot going on. We'll have 35, 45 guys that's participating.
Yep.
So, but when we get to Ontario, it's, the last few years, and I may be jumping ahead a little bit, but the last few years, the donations of the water, the snacks and things like that, they've been delivered to the Bob Hope Center there at the Ontario Airport. And what we do is we go in and we separate all that for the 3 different routes. And so, M25 has the Southern Hydration Trailer, the Midway Trailer, and we're going through all the donations, and we're loading our trailers there the first 2 days. We're usually there. We get into Ontario, some of us, as early as Friday and Saturday of the week before.
Right.
And then we're busy loading trucks, Mondays and Tuesdays, and then we're ready to roll on Wednesday.
Wow. That's a lot of work.
It is.
Now,
That's a lot of
I
work.
know you're a chaplain, but have you held any other positions on the run?
This year, the last 2 years, I've been the North Carolina assistant coordinator. This year,
state coordinator.
I'm the state coordinator for North Carolina this year.
Okay.
Wow.
And we've had some trials and troubles in North Carolina.
Yeah, no kidding.
Man,
Wait, have we had a state coordinator on before?
No. So this is the first
you know what?
chaplain, first state coordinator.
Talk to us about what it takes to be a state coordinator too.
Yeah.
Like what is it like being a chaplain? What is it like being a state coordinator?
It's a twofer.
Don't deter anyone from wanting the job though.
Well,
no pressure.
No,
Go.
I mean it's an honor to do it. But the state coordinator for me this year, has opened my eyes to a lot of different things. North Carolina got hit really bad 2 years ago with the hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
So last
right.
year we had to divert from North Carolina and went up into Bristol, and that was a planning thing all to itself as well. But this year it's been a challenge for me because I've never done the state coordinator, and just kind of getting that organized. In the last month, I've put over 1,000 miles on my vehicle going down.
Yikes.
You've always heard this story, but where you can't get there from here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have one stop in Siler City. The next stop is Falcon's Children's Home, which is an orphanage down in Falcon, which is, an hour and a half away. And you can't get there from Siler City. And one route has 21 traffic lights. And the other route is 2 hours north and back down. So we've had to pick, and I've been through that route probably 4 times in the past month and a half, trying to figure out what's going to be the best route to go. And we finally got it nailed down. But it's just things like that the coordinators go through. Trying to organize the LEO, the escorts. So you've got, you can't. On one hand, you get the state patrol. On the other hand, they want you to get the actual town police or city police, and then you go and they go, well, that's the sheriff's responsibility. So you're kind of coordinating all these different law enforcement agencies and finding out who's going to do what. So it's exciting, but it's a challenge.
Yeah, I'm sure it's no easy task
So tell us
with all
tell us
the
a little bit about being a
logistics.
chaplain. Where do you guys ride relative to the pack, and what's your day look like as a chaplain?
Well, okay. Starting out, our day begins. Some of our stops, our day begins at 4 or 4:30 in the morning because they also use our trailer for the morning meetings.
Hmm. Like the
We have
sound trailer.
the sound trailer basically.
Yep.
We have the mic set up and the speakers and the flags. And we get that set up. Uh, if the um, if the meeting is at 6 or 6:30, we're always there, set up at least a half hour, making sure everything is set up
Mhm.
right. And we'll start playing, some patriotic music. Some guys request some country or whatever, So we'll wind up putting whatever music they like, but most of the time it's usually patriotic. And so we're set up, we're ready to go, and then they'll have their meeting, and then we break that down, and then um, the chaplain corps will be there for the morning prayer, and usually, sometimes the route coordinator will make the changes. Sometimes the route coordinator will want one of the other guys to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Most of the time, it is the chaplain. As we get up on, they'll bring us up on a trailer. We'll have the morning prayer, the allegiance, and then we'll have the meeting, and then we tear down. And then, of course, we're the last pack of the group.
Hmm.
Um, what we provide the hydration drivers, and we also, now this is for Midway, and we also provide the missing man chaplain. And then in the very back, you know, we like to have 6 or 7 guys in the very back,
Mm.
um, uh, and we'll run 6 guys in different. Like we have 2 people. Anytime there's a breakdown or a wreck or anything like that, there's always 2 chaplains, or 2 chase people um, that are called out to go that way. And the um, I guess there's actually uh, the chaplain, the head chaplain. He's in position number 1 in the back, and he's the one that calls the shots on what we do. Okay, chase 1, you go with the chase 1 truck. Chase 2, you're a chase 2 truck. Things like that. So there's usually 6 or 7 of us in the very back, and then we have the chase trucks and trailers behind us, and then behind that's the 2 rear road guards.
Hmm.
So we're always dispatched in a group of 2. We never leave our wingman. We've always got that. Um, and then if there's a wreck or there's a breakdown or whatever, we're there to get the bike on the trailer or administer anything that we need to. Um, we will not put a wreck bike on a trailer unless, and I in the years that I've been involved, uh, a wrecked vehicle is always picked up by law enforcement when they bring in, say,
Hmm.
a wrecker service or whatever. Normally we don't pick up the wrecked bike. Now, if it just goes down, somebody hits sand or something that go down, that's a different story. But if there's injuries involved and things like that, then we're there to be with that person. And if that person goes to the hospital, we go to the hospital and we stay
Mm.
there, regardless of how long. We stay there until their family members are either on their way or they're there. Most of the time, we like to stay there until a family member gets
Yeah.
to the hospital,
Yeah.
and then we'll do catch up after that.
Wow.
Got it.
And
Okay.
sometimes catch up is you're back at the hotel at 3 o'clock in the morning. So, but it's an honor. It's an honor to do that. I mean, we've had some great times doing things like that.
So, question, when we stop at places like schools and memorials, what do the chaplains do at those locations? Or, if I were an FNG and I wanted to know, like, oh, I see a chaplain over there, like, what could I come talk to them about? Like, what types of things or services do you all provide during those times?
We're there. Like I said earlier, we're not there to beat people over the head with a Bible or anything like that. As a matter of fact, on our vest, we have a patch, and that patch says Balnam, Balnam, and that stands for be a light, not a mouth. So
Mhm.
we don't, if someone needs spiritual direction or wants prayer or anything like that, they will come up to us. And we explain all this in the beginning of the ride, that we're not there. We don't go up to somebody and say, "Hey, you're having a hard day. Let me pray with you." We're
Yeah.
there to support the entire team. And wherever we go, if someone at a truck stop, and we've had that happen before, truckers will come up to us, but we're there to support the ride. We're there to support the people. And if they have a spiritual need, we're there to administer that. Or if somebody, there were times that I remember one time up at the wall, we had this big burly guy, he looked like a Hell's Angels guy, and he couldn't make it to the wall.
Yeah, it
And
gets emotional at the wall. It
yeah,
really
yeah,
does.
and he basically was there, sitting in the grass, and we just, one of our guys, they just went up and sat beside him and said, "Hey, we're here if you need us." And and sometimes that, and things like that has created long time friendships. So we're there to support the riders, whatever that need may be. We're there to support them and be with them and offer any kind of help or anything. Some people will want us to come up and bless their bikes, which is fine. We do that. So it's an honor to serve, and that's what we do. We just serve, and if there's problems, questions, or whatever, schools. If they know that chaplains are there, of course we wear prechards and of course our
Mhm.
hats.
Mhm.
And if someone's having a problem or a question or whatever, we're there. We're there to answer. We're there to offer anything that we can.
So
Yeah.
being in such a position of support, how do you go about preparing yourself spiritually and emotionally for the run each year?
A lot of prayer.
Fair.
A lot of prayer, because no two people are the same. No two situations
Mhm.
are the same. And I would be lying to tell you that there are times that we don't get caught off guard. There are times that we get caught off guard. And we try to, if I don't have an answer for you, I will find somebody who does have an answer for you. That's just
Right.
all there is to it. We're not going to leave anybody hanging. And that's true with picking up bikes or anything like that. We're not going to leave anybody hanging.
Yeah. So, on a positive note, what is your favorite run for the wall stop or experience?
Um, oh, you don't have enough time.
Pick one.
Well, I love Flagstaff. It's a love-hate relationship with Flagstaff, because you may roll in and it's 73 degrees, and the next morning you wake up and there's 2 inches of snow on your bike.
Yep.
Now wait a
And
minute.
I'm serious. In 2017, we rolled in, and
Yep.
it had started raining that afternoon. And we woke up the next morning, it was 28 degrees, and there was ice everywhere. We're scraping ice off of our motorcycles with credit cards.
Yep.
And the road guards were out way before sunup that morning, putting cones around ice spots.
Mhm.
But that was uh, uh, and of course, North Carolina is a fun trip for me, because I have a lot of people from my church and churches that I'm involved with there, within a 50-mile radius of me, and they come out and they help with the dinner there at the Harley Davidson shop in Swananoa, and then someone will come out the next morning for breakfast and see us off, and then they'll ride way behind the pack to the fuel stop in Statesville, and then down to the big steak dinner or steak lunch at Siler City.
So
So
how far are they
that's fun
coming
for
to
us.
meet the run to do that?
From Asheville to Stanley is about an hour and a half.
Okay,
So
not bad at
they'll
all.
come up, and then of course it's about an hour and a half down to Statesville, and then another hour and a half down to Siler City. So we
Not too
have, and
bad.
of course I have a big group that's on one of the bridges there in Hickory, North Carolina. There's usually about 40 from my church that
Oh
shows up
my
there. They
goodness.
have this huge banner and flags and all this kind of stuff. So
That's
you
great.
North Carolina's fun for me. It's going to be interesting this year coming through the hurricane ravaged place. I mean, it's still today looks like a war zone in there.
Really?
Um,
Wow.
yeah, we have 2 lanes, east and west there, and the only and it's 35 in a couple 35 speed limit in a couple of places, and there's only an 8-inch curb between the 2 lanes of traffic.
hmm
So it's going to be experience getting through there this year.
Okay,
So we're
so
looking forward to it.
speaking of experiences, you're Midway. I'm doing Midway this year. So my favorite question to ask other Midway people is, have you jumped in that blue hole and are you jumping into it this year?
I have not.
You haven't? Oh, okay. Okay. All
You
right.
know, uh,
Just doing a little
you know,
survey.
I have not, but I'm not saying I won't. I'm gonna say no 2 or 3 times until they push me in.
Hitch, I
I'm
hope you're
pretty sure I'm
prepared.
doing it.
Pretty
I am
sure.
going to be prepared. I'm taking my
Hitch,
wetsuit.
I am 100% sure that you are going in.
Oh no!
I'm doing it.
Hitch,
Valor
Okay.
and I.
I'm
Hitch,
just
are you doing
saying.
Midway this year?
What's that?
Are you doing Midway this year?
I
Yeah,
am.
she is.
I
Oh,
am.
great! Great.
Now
So,
I'm not jumping from the top. I've watched a lot of videos of other people at the blue hole, and I'm like, oh, I see the spot where I'll jump in from.
okay, I'm
And
making
I'm
a note right now to take a wetsuit with me that morning.
I'm absolutely taking my wetsuit. I don't do cold water. I'm gonna pack
Well,
my
last year,
wetsuit, hers. Is it hot there?
year before last, it was cold and rainy. Last year, I didn't make it to the blue hole last year because we had an accident and I was at the hospital, so I
Okay.
didn't make it to the blue hole. But there were a lot of people. Now, in Knoxville, that's another place to get wet. The fountains in Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Have you ever been through there?
No?
At lunch, there's a you join with fellow riders and you walk through this fountain. The fountain's shooting up from the ground. So
Extra
that's
changes of clothes, check.
yeah.
I'm sure
change out.
I'm sure my daughter, she'll be 4. She turns 4 next week, y'all. Oh, help
Uh-oh.
me. My poor mama heart.
Oh, that's gonna be great.
I'm sure she is going to probably be the first person in said fountain. So there's
Yeah.
All right. So, how about your favorite meal on Run for the Wall?
Well, that meal in Siler City, which is usually steak and potatoes and green beans, and then homemade cobbler with homemade ice cream. That's a biggie.
Did you say that's a lunch stop?
That's a lunch stop.
Oh
That
my
is
gosh,
crazy.
I'd be falling
Oh, yeah.
asleep on the bike.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then that night, is the big spaghetti dinner down at Bizzle Grove. So it's that day. Everybody gains about 20 pounds, I think.
I need to see how
There's
many
no
miles
shortage
are
of food. Yeah, no shortage of food on Run for the Wall.
Absolutely not, especially on Midway. I mean, we are fed like royalty. It's and all places. The church in Forest City, they feed us well every the night that we come through there, and they have a great church service as well. So, there's just a lot. I mean, and going back to Flagstaff, it's just a little tiny VFW, but they feed you really good.
Hell yeah.
All right. Brushstroke. How did you come upon
I'm waiting
this
for this
road
story.
name?
Have you guys met Chief Gary Whaley? He's the guy that actually got me involved in Run for the Wall.
I don't know him. No.
Well, I was down here at this church building a children's. I designed and built a children's facility here. And when he found out that I was interested in going on Run for the Wall, he gave me that because I'm an artist. I've worked for Universal Studios and Paramount and different big organizations like that. So he, being an artist, he said, hey, your road name's Brushstroke. So that's how it struck.
That's great.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
Usually
All
it's when
right.
you do something embarrassing or,
Oh yeah,
you know.
yeah. To me, one of the best names that I seen was a guy who left his gas cap off, and it came off going around the curve, leaving the convenient place. So he got the word. His road name, of course, was Gas Cap.
You
Uh-huh.
know what? I can't even act like that's an odd occurrence because I'm pretty sure last year I rode around with one and we were trying to figure out who it belonged to. So there's that.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Well, I was fortunate. My first time that I've given a person a road name, we a friend of mine joined us last year, and he went from Ontario to DC on a Sportster.
Oh,
I mean,
Yeah. So I gave him the road name as Sporty,
and
and
we have someone on
man,
Central who did it.
that's a rough ride for a Sportster.
it is. It is a really rough ride on a Sportster.
But he did great, and he's back this year.
But
Uh,
speaking of that, what do you ride?
Yeah, what do you ride?
I have a 2016 Indian Springfield.
Okay.
But
And
now, when I
you
first started, and I've only had that since we came back from COVID. Prior to
okay.
that, I had a Yamaha Roadstar.
Mm-hmm.
So of course now the Indian's it's a little bit bigger and a little bit more comfortable than a Roadstar was.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
you've always ridden your bike out there, or do you ship your bike
no,
to California?
I didn't know if that was going to come in a question or not. But the hydration trailers, sometimes we have two coming from the Carolinas and then one from Amarillo, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So usually we'll get our bikes on the trailers here in the Carolinas, the two hydration trailers that go out. And then the guys from the Midwest, they will meet up with the guy in Amarillo. And that's how we get our bikes out there. Now, there are a few of them that do ride all the way out. But that's how we get our bikes out to the West Coast.
That's a pretty good, efficient way of doing it.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
But M25, we're a lot like Run for the Wall. I mean, we're constantly raising funds, for the ride, because we pay for our own hotels, we pay for the gas out there. Now, Run for the Wall pays for the gas on the chase trucks and the hydration trailers from Ontario to DC. But getting out there, it's the M25's cost for that. And once we get out there, we have. I remember 2 years ago, there's a Lance organization there. The Lance Foods, the crackers and things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we made. We took our hydration trailer over to their location 3 times one day and loaded that into pickup trucks full of snacks from Lance and
That's
brought them
great.
back to the Bob Hope Center and loaded up.
So I mean, that's yet another sponsor that
Oh yeah.
honestly, we really didn't even know about.
Yep.
So you all are out there making connections, and wow.
Yeah, they have a
Thank you, Lance
huge place
Foods.
out there. Exactly.
All right. Boots, what's the next question?
So, do you have any words of wisdom, some sage advice for FNGs?
Just come prepared. The guys prepared me very well on my first year. I had to, the thing to me, I don't like being cold.
My guy.
I don't like being cold. but a pair of gloves, waterproof gloves, and just dress for the occasion. You cannot anytime. Like I know that morning in Flagstaff we left and it's 28 degrees. Our next stop somewhere, I'm not even sure where it was at now, but it was like 92 degrees when we stopped our first stop.
Oh,
and it's like people are going down to their underwear in the parking lot, getting, so just be prepared for your ride. to me, some of the things that being clothing, make sure you have 2 weeks worth of your medicines that you need.
Yep.
That's extremely important. Now I know in 2017, there were 4 of us on the M25 crew that went from, when we got to DC, we went on from DC up to Montreal, Canada, and we loaded our bikes on a plane and we flew to London with our motorcycles. And then we went from London over to Scotland, back to London, and down to Jerusalem. And it was for
Wow.
to bring awareness to terrorism and to the state to the state of Israel. But but same prep goes into cross country. Make sure your clothing, it's every day is different. It may be 40 for the high today. It may be 90 for the high tomorrow. You just got to be prepared. Keep a watch on your weather reports on if it's going to rain. Always look to the road guards. If they're putting on road gear, rain gear, you put on rain gear.
That is for sure.
That is important, But yeah, I think just being prepared, keeping your eye on the weather, making sure that you've got your meds that you need, and drink plenty of water, drink plenty of Gatorade, keep yourself hydrated, and you'll be fine.
Now, does your advice differ at all for other riders who may have already done Run for the Wall? Does it differ at all from the advice you have for FNGs?
Not really, because that they kind of warned me of some of the stuff that would be going on the first year. No doubt there's always going to be something that's going to happen. They told me one year, the first year I went out there, bring 2 pairs of shoes or 2 pairs of riding boots. And there was one day there, it rained so hard I was loading a bike on a trailer and I couldn't even see the truck that was pulling the trailer. It was raining so hard. And I probably poured a pint of water out of each boot when I got to the hotel that night. But it's now one of the guys told me one year, and I didn't think anything about it, but he had a can of water repellent in his one of his bags, and he said, spray your boots tonight because it's supposed to rain tomorrow. And it helped tremendously. So that I would have never thought of that, but
wow.
It's just little things like that that always definitely bring chaps. Some people ride with chaps all year round, even when it's 90 degrees. I don't.
I always did.
Cold. But just kind of get your mindset on anything can happen. The weather can be anything. It can be cold, wet, hot, dry, whatever. So just talk to other guys, and they'll tell you experiences that they've had and what they've done and what helped out.
Good. I know, like you mentioned the chaps. I always wore my chaps because someone taught me, hey, dress for the slide, not the ride. So I was like, noted. Noted.
Well, I had years of riding under my belt, before I ever did Run for the Wall. We always did the bike rallies, like the Myrtle Beach Bike Week and things like that, so we were always riding. So it's, some of that stuff just comes natural after a couple of years.
Yeah. So 2026 plans, anything special outside of, state coordinator, chaplain, the things that you've already shared with us? Anything special you have going on for 2026?
Not really. It's the same thing year after year, just getting prepared, getting prepped for it, making your phone calls, your Zoom calls, your text, emails. I'm working really close with Windog, our route coordinator, and also Randy, who is the assistant coordinator. So we're constantly in contact with each other. checking on this and checking on that, making sure everything's going to be smooth once we get out there.
Awesome.
Very good.
All right. I think that brings us to tech tips with Ted.
Tech tips with Ted. All right. I got to look at my notes to remember what I'm supposed to talk about today. Oh, yeah, I remember. So you've heard me talk about before, know where you're going, know the route. I don't care if you're going on a hog chapter ride or run for the wall, if you're in the chaplain corps, an FNG, one of the road guards, you really need to know where you're going. And one of the ways to do that is GPS. Modern GPS is so awesome. I use the Harley Davidson Ride Planner because I have a Harley Davidson, and it just integrates very easily. But I also have an account with Rever. There's several different companies that offer GPS ride planning. Kalamoto is another one. But I wanted to mention there's a really distinct difference between ride planners, like true GPS ride planners like Rever, Harley Davidson Ride Planner, Kalamoto, and what you get with Waze or Apple Maps or Google Maps. Those you just plug in a point and it's going to try to route you or whatever. The best way it thinks is the way to go there. But, when we're going on Run for the Wall, or even when I'm going to Death Valley in a couple of weeks, we want to take a very specific route. And I avoid using Waze or Apple Maps because it's going to try to take me the way it thinks I should go. That's one of the things I love about the Harley Davidson Ride Planner or Rever about true GPS is you can say, I want to go here and put waypoints there and go the exact route that you want to take. Look into it. There's lots of options out there, but if you haven't taken advantage of this technology yet, it's great to do. Even if you're just going on a fun ride with your friends, learn to use it. It comes in real handy on Run for the Wall because, what if you do have a mechanical or you get tired and you want to pull off, you want to take a break, you want to check something that may not be tied down properly, whatever it is, if you have to pull off, know where we're going. Have that locked into your GPS so you can catch back up to us with ease, and it doesn't have to be a panic situation. I hate having fire drills. I really do. And that's one of the reasons why I don't rely 100% on GPS. When I first started road guarding, Tom Miller, who was the road guard captain back there, would take, and I have one in my hand, a China marker, a grease pencil, and he would write navigational cues on the windscreen of his bike. So he would write exit 193, exit 241, so that he would have those because, you can't always rely on GPS navigation. Things happen, things change. Sometimes you get in the vicinity of an Air Force base and GPS cuts out. So I started doing, these China markers on my windscreen, and I realized very quickly, if that windscreen gets wet, it's darn near impossible to see. So now, and I do this all the time when I'm going places, I get this painter's tape. It's like bright green, and it's very easy to see. And I can stick it right on my dashboard or on my windscreen, and I can write my navigational cues with a Sharpie. Now, what's so cool about this is it goes on easy. It comes off easy. You can read it in the rain. Very easy to put on. A lot of the road guards on Central have been doing this. Last year, I did that for Catfish. I wrote all our exits out and stuck it on his bike, so that it's just it makes things easy. You look down, you don't have to guess. You know what's coming next. The other thing I do with that tape is I put all of our estimated time of departures and I tape that onto my bike because constantly people are asking me, when do we leave? When do we leave? When do we leave? Well, you should know. But I tape it onto my fairing every day. So I know I just look there and there's my reference. Yeah, we're leaving at 10:45 or whatever it is. Because that's important to know. You want to know how much time do I have to get to the bathroom? How much time do I have to check my oil, add half a quart, or just take a break, take a breather, get some coffee, get some electrolytes. But that's it. Know the route, use GPS, don't rely 100% on it. Use the painter's tape and put your navigational cues on your bike and have a great ride.
I love it. All right. We do not have any listener letters for today, but I just want to point out when we were when we were getting into today's episode, we received an email from Joel Padre Graves, and I want you to know that, hey, we got your email. We'll take a look at it and get back to you. So, but yeah, any final words for today's episode? No, not from anyone.
Nothing. All right.
Okay.
Thank you for coming on, Brushstroke. We really appreciate it. It's great to have a chaplain on, a state coordinator. It's a first on both accounts.
Yes.
Awesome.
Look forward to seeing you out in Ontario in May. And it's been a great podcast episode. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Absolutely. All right. So for more information, head over to the website at www.rftw.us. If you'd like to share your experiences with us, if you'd like to share the bio of a loved one or someone you served with us, feel free. Reach out to us. If you have questions, listener letters, all that, reach out to us at pod, that's POD, at rftw.us. All right. So until next time, how far are we going?
All the way.
That's right. All the way. Until next time.
We'll see you in May.